All right, Utah wrestling fans, Kurt Klapier here with highschoolwrestlingmatches.com. And tonight we got a short but important podcast for you with the man, Brian Priest. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing well. Getting excited for wrestling season. Busy as all heck, but that's kind of how it is.
That's awesome. So tonight you're the guest instead of the host, so that's a turn for you. How do you
Yeah,
feel
my
about that?
pleasure.
Are you nervous?
No, not too bad. The host is much better looking,
Yeah,
and
true. Not gonna argue about that.
yeah, so probably more intelligent. We're all good. But
Cool.
I'm glad to be here and glad to talk about something that's really meaningful to me.
Awesome. So, Brian, you guys may or may not know, but Brian hosts an early event each year, at least has for a couple years now. It's the Beat Cancer Duels. And so we invited him on the podcast today to talk about this. It's a special event, it's something that's important to him and many of our listeners. So we wanted to start there, Brian. Tell us first off, what are the Beat Cancer Duels?
Well, it's actually the Wrestling Against Cancer duels.
I'm sorry, I'm mixing up. There's a national one called Pin Cancer, and I'm mixing it up with that one.
Yeah, no worries, Kurt. But well, just to kind of give you a little bit what's going on. It'll be Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, November 22nd. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving to open up the wrestling season. And this year we're going to have looks like 7 duels. And it's just kind of a duel. We just kind of pair up teams against each other. We'll put 3 mats down on our gym floor and wrestle. We're going to wrestle actually a duel at 5 o'clock and 3 duels at 6:15, and then 3 more at 8 o'clock. And we're actually still formulating the matchups, but I have most of them. 6 o'clock, you'll see Davis against Timpanogos. You'll see Layton against Mountain View. And then I think our feature duel will be a great one, Fremont taking on North Severe. And then at 8 o'clock, we'll have Sky Ridge, perhaps wrestling Layton again. We're still, again, looking for a team or two. Provo versus Lone Peak. And then the other duel is escaping my brain right now. Corner Canyon versus Westlake. And we're going to do our best to podcast in some form, maybe through track wrestling, maybe through this format. We're looking to podcast the North Severe versus Fremont duel at 6 and the Corner Canyon versus Westlake duel at 8 o'clock. So we got a couple issues just trying to find teams maybe to wrestle Sky Ridge and Timpview. Those are the other 2 teams involved. And teams like Layton have been with me, with this event from the get-go. And I just appreciate guys like John Fager and Cody Burdett at Westlake's been on board, and Davis has been on board pretty much since the inception of the event. And Lyle Mangum, first at Lone Peak, and then at Sky Ridge, and then Dave Nilsson at Timpview, one of my former wrestlers. So it's great to have a bunch of friends there. We do have some new schools this year. First timers, Corner Canyon and North Severe. Fremont's in their 2nd year, and they're going to have some studs in the lower weights. We kind of went over that last week, and North Severe always a very good 2A team, and I'm real eager to see them mix it up. But there's also a charity component, and every year we donate some money to a family who's battling cancer. And there is a North Severe connection. There is a little guy named Eli Euler, who's the son of Kate Chappell, who's the daughter of George Chappell, who was the longtime North Severe coach. And so Dustin Euler and Kate, their baby Eli, has has been battling. He had a brain tumor, and he's recovering, but there's always medical expenses, and he has checkups still to do. And so we're gonna, commit several $100s to help Dustin and Kate out and with their medical expenses with Eli. And so that's going to be our donation. But every year we, give some money to one or two people that are battling cancer. So
did you start this event?
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is very important to give all the credit to where it goes, where it should go. And the inspiration for this event came from Rick and Angie Thompson. And I'm sure most of the Utah wrestling world's very familiar with Rick Thompson's story. In fact, his whole family is.
Yeah, for you, give me a second to talk about that, and you can add to this if I miss anything. But for those of you that don't know, Rick Thompson was a longtime wrestling coach and wrestling fan in Utah, out of Lehigh, right? He was at Lehigh.
Well, yeah, at Payson before.
Before that, his son wrestled at Lehigh. I remember when his Tyson, right? Tyson was at Lehigh.
Yes.
Anyways, it's a freakish thing. One of my best friends actually married one of the daughters who died of cancer. And before she died of cancer, they had another daughter die of cancer. And then the dad, Rick, died of cancer, right? So there were 3 in one family.
Yeah, and it actually goes through all the family. I mean, Rick's brother, Larry, though he died in a boating accident, he fought cancer for a lot of his life, and I think his father had cancer. And in fact, the whole Thompson family has been there was a study, a genetic study. I'm not sure who was doing it on their family, because the cancer gene, unfortunately, has ravaged the Thompson family. And in fact, Rick's younger brother, Bryce Thompson, who we gave money to his family, he also perished with cancer a couple of years ago. So Rick's 2 brothers have had it. His father's had it. And of course, he's, before he passed away, he lost 2 of his daughters. And so I tell you, I look at Angie, his wife, and go, Job has nothing on her, in my opinion. The grace that she's handled all this tragedy is just remarkable. And usually she'll come on by to the event.
Did you know that Brian Robbins was married to Megan Thompson?
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember Megan going through all of that. And the younger daughter, her name escapes me. I feel bad about that, but
so their family, great wrestlers, amazing wrestlers, and better people. And because of your relationship with them, you decided to start the Wrestling Against Cancer duels.
Yeah,
right?
Rick and Angie, I mean, they started, a foundation of, and I'm not sure exactly where that is, but the Wrestling Against Cancer Foundation. And I just wanted to do an event. And what really made it even more tragic is, Rick was inspiring it, and he died about 2 weeks before the very first event. And I was hoping he would live long enough to be there, and unfortunately that didn't come to pass. And he passed away, I think, on the 11th of November, actually less than 2 weeks from the first event. And the first event kind of had some other difficulties. This was in 2010. We had that big blizzard come through. We had 8 teams scheduled to wrestle, and only 3 teams were able to make it up. So it kind of, the very first event wasn't the greatest, and kind of in the shadow of Rick's death. But ever since then, it's been pretty good, and we've expanded it to 12 teams. Or 6 duels, and now we're looking at actually 7 duels. And we're going to actually do some JV matches with it. It's usually been just a varsity event, and And so just to kind of make it bigger and better, get more fans there. It is kind of, like I said, a fundraiser for the charity and so forth. And there's just going to be some great wrestling. And I think my other thing is I wanted to do a unique event, Kurt, where something to kick off the season. I know we got the Rumble, we got the All-Star Meet, we got all these big tournaments and stuff like that, but I wanted to do something unique to kick off the wrestling season, and something big, something tied in with the charity. And actually, I got to give Neil Warner of the Daily Herald, he's a pretty prominent prep writer for the Daily Herald down here, and also kind of does a lot of charity work. He put together a charity basketball event to kick off the basketball season. And I think he was doing this in 08, 09 in there. And I just said, well, why don't I do something like that for wrestling? Get some schools together, and it's not really a tournament. It's just kind of a duel versus just a duel. But, several schools come into one place for a duel. And we've had Fox 13 come down, and most of the media, Sean Walker from KSL.com has done some work for us to promote the event. And Jeff Newby stepped up last year to put the event on Track Wrestling. And so there's people have jumped in to make it a little bit glossier, and I really appreciate that. But I just wanted to do something, to honor Rick and Angie,
Cool.
And the Thompson family. 2, to kick off wrestling, and 3, just give somebody out there that's battling cancer, their family, some money. Because there's always.
So each year you select a different family, and that's who benefits from it.
Yeah, first a lot of the money went to Rick and Angie and their efforts and the foundation, and a couple of years ago we gave money to Bryce Thompson and his family. Sometimes we've done 2. We've tried to just kind of spread it around with Angie's blessing, and we did a young lady at Provo High who was fighting cancer. We gave her family some money, and then I don't know. I just actually just saw George Chappell in the stairway at the state tournament last year, and I know his daughter Kate was going through a lot with her young baby. Who, nobody wants to see their infant child battling a brain tumor and stuff like that. So I thought, why not? And then I extended an invitation for North Severe to come up because of that connection with the Chappell family. And they were willing to do that. And they're a great program. And it's going to be awesome to get them on the mat with I think an up-and-coming 5A program, Fremont, who I expect to be there right there in the top 5. And I expect North Severe to be in the top 2 or 3 teams in 2A. So that's going to be a great matchup.
So Chappell, so we're raising money for the grandson of Chappell, right?
Yeah, George Chappell's grandson, yes.
And was George Chappell, he's a former coach, or he is the coach there now?
He's the former coach. He was the coach at North Severe before Barry Smith was there. Very successful coach, and he officiates. You see him, around, mostly in central and southern Utah. But he wrestled actually for Kerry Anderson at Wayne High School, and was the North Severe. And I think they won a few trophies. I'm not sure if he ever won a state championship. George could slap me if I got that wrong, but I know he had some teams, a couple teams take second in state for sure while I was coaching. So. Very, very prominent family down there in the central Utah region, and Kate, she was actually one of the very first girl wrestlers, and I think she might be the first a woman official that we've had, and she's does a pretty good job, and she's actually done some varsity work, and so I'm sure a lot of people have seen Kate officiate.
That's cool. I didn't know we had a girl official, to tell you the truth, in Utah, in high school.
Yeah, and she's probably. I'm sorry, Kurt. Let me cut you off.
No, I just said in high school. I know you get them in freestyle sometimes.
Yeah, she worked. She's come up and worked the JV Rumble for me. She works Beehive Brawl for Andy, and she's done some varsity work. Like, again, down kind of more in the central Utah area. She's had to take a year off or so, obviously, kind of dealing with Eli's situation. So,
Okay.
and what was really cool fall break, I went down to California to go to the Rose Bowl and watch the UCLA and Utah. But on the way back, I was able to took a little detour over to Torrey, where she lives, and was able to visit her and her husband Dustin and Eli, and kind of and see that he's doing really, really well. But they, like I said, how medical insurance is and medical costs, and they still have to do follow-up checkups. So I think the money that we raise to give to that family will be well spent. And so we're just happy to do it.
Awesome. And just in time for Christmas. That's good timing.
Yeah. So again, 6 o'clock. Well, actually, we'll probably have a duel at 5 o'clock. It's Timpview versus somebody. That'll be to be announced. But we'll get something on that. Was it WrestleUtah.com or is it Utah Wrestle? I can always forget the US.
WrestleUtah.org.
Yeah. Gets. I think it's .com though. WrestleUtah.com. Between the two of us, we'll get it wrong or right or something between the mix of it. We'll get the details. We'll get the matchups.
WrestleUtah.com, just to clarify. WrestleUtah.com.
Because and I got to give some shout outs to Jeff Newby, who, like you said, he decided to kind of jump in, and it's always nice to have the support of USA Wrestling Utah. And last year we did a track broadcast of the matches. So, if you can't come up from Salina to watch North Severe, we'll have it up there, and, maybe highschoolwrestlingmatches.com could do something, and, we'll see what we could put together, maybe, Kurt.
Yeah.
Cause there's, like I said, there's three mats, we could, use multiple sources. I hope to maybe podcast or live stream some of these matches. But again, kind of our feature match this year is North Severe versus Fremont. But Layton, they always got a great team, and they'll be up against Mountain View, and then Davis and Timpanogos. Those are our 6 o'clock matches, and at 8 o'clock, our kind of feature match this year will be Corner Canyon versus Westlake. But we also got Provo and Lone Peak. And Sky Ridge versus an unknown opponent at this time. Got my head coach Austin Frazier at Provo. He's up at the officials meeting trying to wrestle up a team or two to fill up the thing. So, but it'll be some great wrestlers and some great wrestling, Kurt.
So it's the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd, right before Thanksgiving. If people want to come watch it and help support that way, what's the cost to get in?
I think last year what wasn't too bad. I think we did like $5 to get in, maybe $4 for seniors and students. So
wrestling fans, if you're not wrestling somewhere that night, I highly encourage you to go to Provo High School and watch this duel. It's $4 or $5 to get in, and that goes to helping this great family in Central Utah fight cancer. Now, if there's teams, you said you're still looking for a couple teams. If there's a team listening to this or a coach listening to this that wants a duel that night, as far as encounters go, it's just one duel, so it just counts as one encounter. Yeah. How do they contact you? What's the cost to them, or do you just want them to contact you?
Contact me at Brian P. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking over you, Kurt, but contact me at Brian P. BRIANP at provo.edu. Or my school webpage, or not school email. That would be probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay. So if you want to be a part of that and help contribute to the Wrestling Against Cancer Foundation, you'll want to send an email to Brian Priest, and that's Brian P. at provo.edu, and it's Brian with an I, correct, Brian? Is that what you said?
That's right. And
okay.
Like I said, we might want to expand to 18 teams for next year. Do 3 rounds starting kind of early evening, and mid-evening, and maybe some at 8. So if teams can't do it this year and might be interested next year, you could also give me a holler. But like I said, we'll find somebody to wrestle Tent View and Sky Ridge. But yeah, if there's a couple teams out there, just give me a holler at that email, and I appreciate the shout out for that, Kurt. And
awesome.
It's fun being the guest tonight.
Well, anything else we need to know about it, Brian?
No, I just, like I said, come and support the concessions while you're there. Versus we've got tons of fast food places around Provo High, but all the money that we raise at concessions, we have donation cans going around, the gate receipts and stuff like that. Provo High's been great to work with me there to the funnel everything into kind of a fundraising effort. So we appreciate if you come and if you get a snack there and keep it all in house. We truly appreciate that.
Cool. And as far as podcasting, just let me know how I can help. I can't be there, but yeah. I know some good options for you. So
thanks, and I'll get back with you, Kurt. And just one last shout out to Chad Blevins. I should say from the very, very, very beginning, the two teams have been there from the start have been Mountain View and Provo. Had some teams come and go, and then kind of late, and then a few teams joined in the year after. But I'm grateful, as always, to Chad Blevins for being on this journey with me. Great man. So want to give him some props.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. That's it for tonight's podcast. Again, we wanted to keep it just short and sweet. But next week, tune in. It will be a little longer next week. We should have the Beehive Top 25, is my understanding. And I'll let Newbie explain all that and what that means next week. So
yeah,
season starts Monday, guys. So get ready.
Okay. So same time next week, right?
Yep, 8 o'clock next week.
Okay. Thanks, Kurt, for having me.
Yep.